Hey, just got the mail. Let's see. Junk. Oh. Hey, honey. What's next? Just got some fan mail. Dear What's Next? I'm a big fan of the show. Really love that Mark Middleton. He's so cool. And that other guy, Phil or Bill, what's his name? I forget. He's okay too. Oh, come on!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Growing bolder, what's next?
With Mark and Bill.
Growing bolder, what's next?
With Mark and Bill. Oh, and Laura.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. Bill and Laura, how are you guys doing today?
Well, I'm fantastic. It's great to see that now Laura's got a starring role in the program too, and people don't even remember my name.
You two are really something else. Thank you. That's hysterical.
The open keeps getting longer and longer, but the show keeps getting better and better. So we're pleased. We are 3 minutes late coming live to you today, and I'm going to tell you why. We have been trying to figure out a technical issue with Diana Nyad, but I think we have it figured out. So let's show you what's coming up in just a few minutes. We are going to speak live with one of the most inspirational women I know. She has turned 70. We're going to speak with Diana Nyad in just a moment. You know, the lockdown has been challenging for all businesses. Growing Boulder is no exception. We're going to give you a behind the scenes look at a couple of our big projects. And, you know, as parts of society begin to reopen, there are some things about the lockdown that Laura Savini does not want to leave behind. Very interesting. She'll tell us about that. And of course, I've got something on my mind this morning as well, and we'll share that coming up. And, you know, guys, last week we talked about the inability to give our mothers a hug. Some of them, unfortunately, no longer with us, and those that are, we just can't get to them. But I want to show you a video that really kind of caught my eye this week. 10-year-old Paige Okray from Riverside, California, missed physical contact with her grandparents so much that she invented the hug curtain. She used a shower curtain, some Ziploc bags, a hot glue gun, and disposable plates. She did get some help from her mom, who is a COVID-19 unit nurse at a local hospital, and the result, an ingenious way to get a little physical contact from grandma and grandpa. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, God, that is making me cry. That is just the sweetest thing. We all are craving that contact. I'm amazed that she figured this out. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I sure hope that that is really, really temporary, or we're going to have to change the name from Hugs to Gimme a Hefty. Come on, give me a Hefty.
Well,
The Ziploc top.
they say that necessity is the mother of invention, and maybe in this case, it's the grandmother of invention. You know, I think with the exception of places like New York, which of course is where Laura lives, restaurants all over the world now are trying to figure out a way to reopen in a way that respects the social distancing guidelines and allows their employees to get back to work. And take a look at this. This is a restaurant in Amsterdam that has been experimenting with quarantine greenhouses, which has to be an expense, but I think that looks pretty cool.
That looks awesome, doesn't it? What a great, I mean, what a romantic, fine dining experience. I'd love to have that now.
I would as well. I want one of those in my backyard.
Yeah, well, speaking of your backyard, Laura, here's one you might like also. This one comes to us all the way from Sweden. This isn't, it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not too far from the restaurant. One chair, one table, no waiters. They throw you your food in a picnic basket on the end of a rope. So it's the ultimate in isolation dining. How about that?
That is adorable. That could be completely romantic if there were another person there.
Good point.
Now this I love. This I think is just absolutely ingenious. This is the Inn at Little Washington. Now this is a Michelin 3-star restaurant, okay? So this is fancy schmancy, Washington, Virginia. Look at what they've done. They've dressed up mannequins in these fabulous costumes. So everybody looks really shishi. And what they're doing is enforcing the social distancing by keeping mannequins at the tables where you can't have people. And then the restaurant doesn't feel empty. I think that's a really, really smart move.
It looks like fun, like you're part of a set. And finally, folks, this is a restaurant in Milan, Italy. They have plexiglass dividers, not only between the tables, but actually in between the two diners. And guys, I don't know about you, but I'd feel like I was eating in an aquarium. And I think I'll pass on that one, but a couple of the others look pretty good.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that I'm a sloppy eater, but my family would love to sit across from plexiglass with me. And they talk to me about as much as a bunch of mannequins sitting around. And third, they would dream of me having my own special seat in the middle of a meadow. So
I don't believe it.
For them.
I understand that. All right, let's move on because it is just a little after 7 a.m. In Los Angeles today. And I can tell you this with certainty that Diana Nyad has been up for not just a little while. She's been up for a long while, and she is not just having a cup of coffee. She is attacking her day. And Diana, as you all probably know, is the woman who at the age of 64 on her 5th attempt became the first human being to swim from Cuba to the U.S., to Key West. And, you know, beyond that, she has just continued to move forward, to grow bolder. She's an award-winning broadcast journalist. She's an author. She's an amazing motivational speaker. And what I like most about the many things I admire about her is that she is a mission-driven person who is fully invested in trying to help all of us live healthier lives, and also now to make the planet a better place for all of us. So let's say hello to Diana Nyad. And this is why we were late this morning, folks. We're dealing with internet issues. I hope we can hear you now. Diana, are you there?
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Yay. It is so great. Welcome and thank you for your time. And let's start here. How are you dealing with the pandemic? I mentioned that I was certain that you were attacking it and not running from it. What are you doing? How are you responding to the restrictions that have been put on all of us?
Well, first of all, Mark, Bill, Laura, let me say a wonderful, warm good morning to all three of you. Laura, I've been thinking about you and all my fellow New Yorkers because we know that more than any place on earth, you guys have been hit the hardest. So, Laura, were you literally inside for these 2-3 months, all this long time?
I do go out for walks and bike rides occasionally because you know you'd go crazy if you don't exercise. But we're being extremely careful.
Yeah, I bet. I have friends in New York who maybe not the last week, but literally for those 2 hard months, never went out, had everything delivered. And now you're not talking about a backyard. You know, so I think the hardship has been really tough for you guys. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Mark, you know, I don't know why. I think, you know, to back up a little bit, for some reason, even as a kid, like before double digits at age 8 and 9, which isn't normally the thing. I'm nothing special. We're all the same under the blue sky. But for some reason, I got a pressurized, you know, sort of drive when I was young that this incredible life that we're all living is going to go by very quickly. And now at 70, I know the clock is ticking at the exact same rate it was when I was 9, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like the clock is just sweeping around. So for some reason, even though I always live under make the most of every day, make every day worthwhile, don't look back with any regrets, for some reason, it wasn't conscious. I didn't sit down and have a little talk with myself. As soon as quarantine happened, as soon as the virus ratcheted up, and here in California, Governor Newsom, you know, called the stay-at-home measures the very first state in the country, I just went into some kind of overdrive gear. I don't know, something in me thought, if I'm going to not have a normal life, I'm not going to be out public speaking, I'm not going to be out traveling the world, I am going to grab whatever time this is. And of course, we have so many unknowns. You know, we think things are loosening up. What if there's a second wave? Here in California, we've been ordered stay at home, under new restrictions, a little bit of opening for the entire summer. So it's not like we're living beyond the virus by any means. We're living with it, and we're learning how to live with it safely. And as I say, for some reason, even though I usually get up early, I bust all day, I have been in overdrive for it started about mid-March. I get up at dawn, I work out like a maniac for 2 hours. I'm writing a children's book for the first time. I'm getting in touch with friends that I haven't spoken to in a long time, and that means a lot. So I've been paying attention to my beautiful home, whereas I'm lucky to have a housekeeper. Well, I haven't had a housekeeper, so I'm washing the kitchen floor. It doesn't sound like a hardship, and it isn't, but it's put me in touch with my own home, more than I was before. So I have just been more than surviving, more than sitting back and saying, come on, we can all get through this. We can sacrifice. Look at the people who are suffering worse than we are. But I am thriving. When we're really back to just bust out, do everything you want, take everything for granted, all the trees are always there for us. I just jumped into a eyes wide open, live it big, go to sleep exhausted every night. And that's the way it's made me feel better to get through the COVID pandemic era.
Now, Diana, you've got this thing in you that I think's in all of us, but somehow it just flows out of you. And that's the desire, this drive to make a difference. Not just, it wasn't just about the swim. You really want to make a difference in all our lives. And you've got plans for something that blows my mind, because it's something anybody can participate in, something anybody can help out in. It's part of your Everwalk project, and it's called Oceans Commit. Tell us about what you've got planned for next year.
Thank you, Bill. I like a lot of people do, but you can imagine I was literally immersed in this blue jewel of a planet. I was in the oceans for a lot of my adult life, and I felt head over heels in love with our oceans. So, I think I'm like a lot of people. I can read about climate change and global warming, and, read about how in just a very short time, all the major cities of the world are going to be underwater. The human race is not going to survive. We polluted the air and the water with carbon, with plastics in the ocean, to the point that it's too late. Well, it's not too late. What did we just see during this pandemic? When we got out of our factories, out of our cars, out of airplanes, out of construction, the planet cleansed herself. I cried like a baby when I saw the pictures of the Himalayas. Clear as a bell, the people from 100 miles away, that's their mountain. That's their source of pride. They haven't seen the peak of Mount Everest for 40 years. And there it was, clear and majestic. So we can clean up the planet. We can make a future, for all those generations, for millennia to come. And the way we're going to do it, yes, there are activists. I'm not one. There are activists who give their lives, who spend all their resources, all their intellect on what we're going to do to reduce the carbon footprint, et cetera. But I feel, and many sociologists, Margaret Mead has said this many times before, if not one person can do everything, but if all of us do one little thing, millions of us, as we just did sort of by accident during the pandemic, we can restore the Earth's oceans to their blue, pristine glory. So I've launched something along with my buddy Bonnie. You guys know of Bonnie Stoll, who was the head of my expedition to Cuba, my best friend. We did launch Everwalk. Let's get all of America. Let's stop sitting. Let's get out and walk at least a mile every day. Let's just, it might not be the biggest fitness, but let's enjoy the great outdoors. Well, now we're going to walk along oceans. We're going to walk, for instance, from Jacksonville down to Miami next June, a year from June, during World Ocean Month. We're going to walk the Pacific. We're going to walk the Gulf Coast. We're going to walk the New England coast. Some people just a mile or two, other people epic distances, and we're going to swim in those oceans as well. Every day, a little bit of a swim. And it's called Oceans Commit. And all we ask for people to do, no money, no change legislation. no lobbying Washington, unless you all want to do that. What we want from Oceans Commit is a commitment from every individual who walks and swims, for everybody in that town who comes to our beach rally at the end of the day, to commit to go home, look around your house, how much single-use plastic is involved in your house. Your doggy poop bags, your garbage bags that go out to the trash every week. Can you find a way to get single-use plastic out of your business, out of your homes? And if 1 million of us did that, not to mention if 30 million of us did that, we could stop the 8 million tons of plastic, or at least reduce it, from going from land to sea every year. People in Lincoln, Nebraska think that their plastic water bottle has nothing to do with the Earth's oceans, that they're okay. That Lincoln, Nebraska bottle winds up on a beach in Cambodia, winds up in a turtle's stomach out in the middle of the Pacific. It does. So that's my new thing, Bill, and I really appreciate your asking about it. I care about it. Our website's up, oceanscommit.com, and that's my new drive. And Everwalk is sort of the house, is the umbrella. We're going to walk. We're going to be in the great outdoors while we commit to less single-use plastics.
Something we could start doing right now, right today, to help Diana, right, Laura?
That's right. Diana, I have to say, you are growing bolder. You are it. I am such a fan of yours. And I know you're turning 70. Does that mean anything to you? Does it make a difference, that number?
It does. I've never been much on the numbers, and I know I'm speaking to the choir with you guys and your fans at Growing Bolder. First of all, what are you going to do about it? Every second that I spend worrying that my breasts are going south, that the lines on the face are growing deeper, every moment I worry about all that and become neurotic about it and stare in the mirror and decide what to do about it, I can't do anything about it. We are aging. And I don't want to waste that time. I'm not a model. I'm not a runway model. I am living an active, meaningful life. So I put all my energy in there. But let's face it, 70, what it means to me doesn't have to do with, honestly, my vitality, my athleticism, my energy. I've still got all that in spades, and I work on it. But what it means to me is that I'm much, much closer to the end. And will I be sitting talking to you at age 80 and still be as vital? I do believe so. Yeah, because I'm lucky genetically and because I take care of myself physically in a big way. But will I be sitting with you at 90? Just the body wears down, the heart wears down, the mind wears down, the organs wear out. So, when is all that going to start? I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop, but I'm realistic. 70 is much closer to the end than even 50 was. So Laura, it does mean something to me in that way to refer back, echo back to the beginning of our conversation here. It makes that pressure of make every moment count. My old doggy, he hasn't walked by the last couple of minutes, but I'll show you him when he does. He's almost 15 and he's a big dog, so that's old. And we've had this sublime, precious time together right now while I'm home all the time. I'm not on an airplane. And so I'm talking about quality of life, whether it's hugging your dog and taking him for a slow walk 4 times down the block, or whether it's doing something, meaningful, like saving the Earth's oceans. I'm feeling like you better not waste one precious minute of this life. And Bill, I wanted to say one other thing. I don't have it in front of me, so maybe one of you guys could quote it better. But Jane Goodall has a wonderful quote about each one of us on the planet making a difference. And she says, to paraphrase, something like, you may think that what you do doesn't make any difference at all. Nobody cares. Nobody knows you. But the truth is, every single one of us, everything we do all day long makes a difference to the future of the human race. And it's up to you to decide what kind of difference you want to make.
Diana Nyad. In fact, we're going to end this show with a quote from Jane Goodall. It's not that one, but thank you for bringing it up. Diana, we could go forever, and I hope we can do this again. Thank you so much for your time. You've been very gracious. Thanks for all you do, and keep on keeping on, because you're inspiring all of us.
That's for
Laura,
sure.
Bill, Mike, Mark, you guys always inspire me too. I'm in the Growing Boulder fold. I'm with you. I'm with you.
We love you.
We appreciate that. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and please give Bonnie our best. And folks, as you can see, Diana Nyad is a passionate, talented, energetic, mission-driven 70-year-old. And, she's the kind of person that leads to people saying that 70 is the new 40. And I got to tell you guys, this is one of my pet peeves. To say that 70 is the new 40 is to imply that something is, in fact, wrong with being 70. No, 70 is the new 70. We have to celebrate the opportunity because 70 is not the beginning of the end. It is the beginning of what's next. And Diana Nyad represents that as well as anybody I know. And it's why we're excited about our partnership with Florida Blue Medicare, because a lot of people think that Medicare age 65 is the beginning of the end. And no, it's the beginning of what's next. It's the time to celebrate, not a time to mourn what's lost, but to get excited about what remains. Take a look at this.
Hey, congrats. You were born to be 65. You're good at it. But you weren't born to be an expert on Medicare. But good news, you don't have to be. Growing Boulder has created a simple guide to take the guesswork out of choosing a Florida Blue Medicare Advantage plan. So go ahead, celebrate. Life isn't a destination, but a journey. And Growing Boulder is a great place to start. Brought to you by Growing Boulder and our partners at Florida Blue Medicare.
Thank you so much. Gosh, I love that. And folks, this is the kind of message that we all need to hear. We need to destigmatize growing older, which is pretty much our mission every day of every year. But candidly, it's been more difficult during the lockdown. I think that, we all get that. Nothing has been easy, especially if you're involved in producing our magazine, which is why we want to give you a behind the scenes look and introduce you to the editor-in-chief of our magazine, Emily Thompson, and our creative director, Ashley Hayfie. Ladies, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good morning.
So let's start with you, Emily. Are we going to make it? I know we've all been rushing for a delivery deadline here in a couple of days. How are we doing?
We are in the 11th hour push, but we're going to make it. And we have a wonderful cover story that came about because of COVID. So we're not only going to make our deadline in spite of COVID, we're going to have an amazing issue because of COVID. Anybody who caught last week's show was introduced to George and Cheryl Camper, and they will be featured on the cover of this issue. We are in an historical moment, and we had a pivot opportunity for the magazine. So we have some really wonderful content around the theme we developed before COVID on creativity and sustainability. We found that it's now more relevant than ever. We have professional photographer George Camper and his wife, Cheryl, who are creative partners in the Bubble Boy photo series that has become an Instagram sensation and brings some levity to life with COVID. And we also have a professional photographer from Manhattan, Ed Letterman, who has a photo project we introduced in the magazine, as well as the personal story of a COVID survivor in Manhattan. So we are all in this together. That is, where we pivoted our theme. And Ashley and I are producing this while being home with our children, and my son is in school.
So that can't be easy. You are both great professionals. Your wives, you have kids. I know Emily's got a elementary school student. You're also, kind of playing with him, as we can see, but also teaching him. Ashley is there. He is. There's Carter. Ashley is the mother of two twins. And Ashley, I don't know whether you can hear me, but we can't hear you. I think you have to. There you go. How are you doing, Ashley, with your twins?
My husband's singing in the background, so I was sparing you all that extra melody to our day. It's great. There's something so magical about having children very young during this pandemic, because my twins are 18 months old and they just think this is the greatest time of their life. We've barely left the house. They have both of their parents. My husband's a touring musician. He was supposed to be in Asia. He was supposed to be in Europe, all over the world right now. And he's home here playing with them and enjoying them. So, you know, we've really seen this as a positive as much as we can, because this is time you can't get back with your kids. And as two very hardworking parents, you know, they're not going to remember this at all, but we're going to remember this, and we're going to remember the time that we had with them. So, you know, we're trying to see the upside to that, even though it's, of course, nearly impossible to get, you know, work done, take care of children, cook all of your meals, all the things, but we're definitely trying to see the bright side of it.
You guys are doing a great job. Emily, how are you doing being a teacher as well as being the editor-in-chief?
I have to say, I'm probably the worst teacher my son has had in his educational career. Thankfully, his late summer birthday means he is in his second year of kindergarten, and he has had excellent teachers both years. So he is ahead of schedule with his academics, and my multitasking fails here and there, thankfully, are covered. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge. The IT involvement for parents doing distance learning with young children is more than I could have imagined. So, you know, I think it's going to change education going forward, and he will have a head start.
Well, you guys, we appreciate you kind of letting us get an inside look at what you're doing. We really, really appreciate that. Emily and Ashley, we look forward to the new issue of Growing Bolder magazine. It will be shipped to 170,000 subscribers very, very quickly. So, yeah, it's something. And Bill's going to share with you folks out there how you can get your own copy in just a minute. You know, the other thing that we've been doing, guys, is preparing for season 6 on public television. And we did have some test days at the studio not too long ago, about a month and a half ago, where we, got into the studio and we prepared to shoot all of the ins and outs that we need for season 6. But COVID has kept us out of the studio. But the good news is we're back in the studio, properly social distance next week, and we will put the finishing touches on season 6, which will be delivered to public broadcasting stations all over the country in September, which I think is going to be pretty good. What do you think, Bill? I
don't know if people realize how cool this magazine is. It's just like Diana Nyad. She's 70 years old, right? But because of her passion and enthusiasm and desire to make a difference, you don't see age. Growing Bolder is the first magazine, the first TV show ever to look through the lens of midlife to late life, but not feel like it at all. It's inspiring. It's motivating. It's great. And I hope everybody makes sure to get a chance to see the magazine and the television show.
Can I tell you something? I never admitted I was over 50 till I met you all and got involved with Growing Bolder. It really changed my life. It makes me feel different and proud of my age and where I am. And I have to say, your crew is amazing that you've pulled off the magazine and now the TV show in the middle of everything that's going on.
Let's give everybody a taste of season 6 if we've got a moment. We're running over, folks, but we don't care. This is the internet. It's live TV. It's our program. Take a look at the sizzle reel. This is what the programmers for public broadcasting have seen.
Today on Growing Bolder, meet the man who made skydiving safer than driving and created a one-of-a-kind lifestyle for his family. Myra Lair, the pioneering environmental activist, now in her late 80s, says it's not too late to save the planet.
Human beings are amazing. You know, we have the capacity to make things right, and we still can do it, but we can't waste time anymore. The time is now.
Three-time Olympic gold medalist Rowdy Gaines reports from the National Senior Games, where we'll meet the world record-setting 103-year-old who's on a mission to help you start growing bolder.
I'm willing to do it. Want to do it. Got to do it.
I'll bet you didn't know that the fastest growing group in video gaming now consists of men and women over the age of 50.
And if you want to make a big change in your health, make these 5 changes in your pantry.
Those stories and more today on Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder. Growing Bolder Season 6 has a new look and features all new, inspiring stories of ordinary people living extraordinary lives. Season 6 has an expanded team of national thought leaders: Laura Savini, Dr. Jim Smith Jr., Dan Buettner, Diana Nyad, Gene Chatsky, Dr. Richard Carmona, Teepa Snow, Daniel Levitin, and many others. Growing Bolder Season 6 doesn't just inspire change, it provides the tools, tips, and resources to help make it happen. Coming up, we'll take a deep dive into the gig economy, how you can make nearly limitless income from the comfort of your home. From the garden to the kitchen to the workout room, Season 6 delivers a playbook for active life that will appeal to viewers of all ages, and that's no laughing matter. Growing Bolder Season 6, available summer 2020.
I'm excited.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, and that's why we wanted to show it to you. We wanted you to see what Laura was talking about before. It's different. It makes you feel proud to be you. It makes you feel empowered to live your life, to use all of the days of your life, because all of them have value, just like Diana Nyad is doing. And where can you keep up with all the things Growing Bolder? Where can you subscribe to the magazine? Where can you find back issues? Where can you learn about the TV show? Where can you see these stories that inspire you? Go to growingbolder.com. That's the launch point for everything. There you'll find out how to access the portal, which is this incredible a gathering of information, tools, resources, and inspiration. You'll see clips from the TV show. You'll be able to share it with your friends. You'll be so empowered, you won't be able to wait to get out and make the rest of your life the best of your life. And the best thing about what's going on now is we can sort of feel the lockdown kind of in its final moments, we hope. At least this time around, we're starting to look outside again. We're starting to wonder what it's going to be like, because we're going to have to get used to something entirely different. Laura, that's going to present some problems for us, huh?
You know, and we've touched upon it a little bit, Bill, in this show. Diana and Emily talking about how much they actually took some benefits from this. And that's something I wanted to talk about today, because it has been a terrible time. If you think about, this time has always made me think about Charles Dickens and the beginning of A Tale of Two Cities, when he says it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was a season of light, it was a season of darkness. Well, we're living in this dystopia, utopia time. At the same time, we're afraid, but we're enjoying ourselves. So many people are suffering. So many have died. So many have lost jobs. So many are lonely. Yet at the same time, there's been this rekindling of hearts where we've grown closer together. Yes, I am brokenhearted about what's going on in the world, but I'm thankful for this time that we've had right now. For non-essential workers, we are finding sanctuaries in our home. We are finding joy in this opportunity to not be running to the airport, running to the store, running here, running there. We've actually slowed down a bit, and the whole world is unwinding, and this is truly unprecedented. There has never been a time when we've been able to respond like this. So do I feel a little guilty about feeling good in the time of Corona? Well, yeah, maybe I do a little. I do. But please know, in our home, we are not without fallout from Corona. My husband and I are both in the entertainment business. This is really going to be the last stage to open up. When are we going to work again? We don't know. But I can't change that. I can't. So what I have to do is deal with the world in the moment that it's in. And you know what? When I look around, I see so much beauty. I see families that have come together. I see a creative wave that has swept across the world. There are people making handmade signs. There are relatives making hand-sewn masks for each other. There are people painting and doing crafts and baking and doing puzzles together. We're playing music in our homes. We're finding new ways to celebrate each other without being physically close to one another. We're learning how to live differently. We're learning how to use technology in new ways that's bringing us closer together. And here's another thing. We're learning, like Diana was saying, we're learning to get closer to our own homes. We're learning that if we have to fix something in our house and we can't call someone in, we better figure out how to do it for ourselves. I actually fixed the toilet using Dawn detergent the other day, but that's a story for another time. And people are baking bread. Have you seen that on the internet? That's my friend Gay. She's making all this bread. And, you know, it's something primal and visceral and ancient. We have made bread for thousands of years, and then we stopped. And the reset reminded us that we should bake bread. We can break bread and make bread. And it's taught us that we are creators. And when we create, we build confidence and joy, and it gives us a light heart. And being creative is something we need to do. So what I'm thinking right now is, what can we take from this reset now that we're at the end of it? You have a few days left. Well, maybe it's okay to slow down. Maybe a little gray hair is okay. Maybe your natural nail color is not so bad. We've learned that a simple hello to a neighbor, or food left at someone's door, a phone call to a long-lost friend, these little acts of kindness hold tremendous value. And you know what? We finally learned what it means to be in the moment. Guys, I like the moment. I like the moment. I like the quiet. I am very sad about the sickness and the death. Don't get me wrong, but I'm enjoying the quiet, and I want to hear that quiet before it goes away. I want to enjoy nature, and you need to enjoy nature before you're too busy to do that again. And if we do that, if we find that peace and enjoy this beauty and enjoy this quiet and give to one another, well, then you know what? We will have taken something positive from this terrible time, and we will have turned this winter of despair into a spring of hope. And I hope you can share some of that emotion with me. It's something I feel so strongly about, is finding the good in the bad.
Boy, that's great, Laura. It's a great perspective. It's a fresh way to look at things. It's not so much what we go through as it is how we get through it. And Mark, that's kind of been a theme through this entire program today. How inspiring, how motivating, how, you know, it's like a big giant trash bag hug.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you so much for that, Laura, for sharing such a personal part of yourself. And, you know, as we promised, Diana, our meme stream today does come from, you know, Jane Goodall, who is the great British primatologist and the anthropologist. And she says the greatest danger to our future is apathy. And I think apathy becomes important because we now know many things that we didn't know before. We know the challenges that we face as a community, and we have to speak up. We have to stand up for what we believe in, for human rights, for protecting this planet, for respecting all people, for ending racism and sexism and yes, ageism. It's all about being bold and then growing bolder. We can bury our heads in the sand, but it's going to lead to our own personal and community-wide doom. So that's what's on my mind today. We know the challenges that we face. And folks, I get that this is an amazingly difficult time for all of us. And sometimes the greatest things are born out of the most difficult times. So, you know, my message to you today is don't give up. I'm not suggesting that you start a new business during the lockdown, but I am telling you that many of the most successful businesses of all time were in fact formed during the most difficult times. I mean, if you look back, it was General Motors and IBM and Hewlett Packard. Some of the biggest names of companies were founded during economic downturns, during the Great Depression. Groupon and Uber and Pinterest were all formed during the great downturn of 2008. Growing Bolder was formed just before 2008. And what we learn from that is the value of bootstrapping, the value of being nimble, the value of being creative, the value of finding new ways to move forward. And I think that's the message for all of us right now. We can't run from what's happening. As Laura said, as Diana said, as Bill have said, we have got to push forward. We have got to believe that more is possible. We are extremely resilient. You know, a lot of us have a lot of times on our hand right now. We have time to do research. We have time to think outside the box. We have time to color outside the lines. We have time to imagine what's next. This is, in fact, the perfect time for that. So, again, I know it's not easy, but giving up right now is not the right move. Always remember that from the ashes, the phoenix arises. And that's where we are at this very moment. So thank you all for joining us, Bill and Laura. I certainly enjoy this time together. I wish that we were, in fact, together, but it's great to get together with you guys once a week and share our thoughts.
And I'm not an expert on internet or social media broadcasts, but this one had everything. So much inspiration, so much hope, so much humanity.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. It's a great show. I hope people are watching and getting the inspiration from all the speakers here today.
It's fun. It's fun to play around, and we appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you right here next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Have a great week.
See you next.
Growing